All right, so my name is Christina Amendeo, and our presentation is on the impacts of cyberbullying.
I'm Delia Gates.
I'm Adam Filer. Cyberbullying is an ongoing issue that is present in the lives of a number of growing adolescents. Cyberbullying can be described as a form of bullying or harassment using any electronic means. What that actually breaks down into is anything that includes sending, posting, sharing negative, harmful, false, or mean content about somebody else can all fall under the definition of cyberbullying. It can include things such as sharing personal or private information about somebody, causing embarrassment or humiliation. Some cyberbullying actually crosses the line over into unlawful or even criminal behavior. The problem has been going since the birth of the internet and will continue to grow as we as a society, we have more access to the internet and we are providing more of an access to kids at a younger age. When I was a youth, I'm 29 now, I didn't have my first social media page until I believe I was like 14 or 15 years old, just because the dangers of the internet were so prevalent and talked about that now there are kids that are 8, 7 years old that are getting their first Facebook account and Snapchat and Instagram, and it's moving us as a society into a way that we're not really dealing with the actual impacts of cyberbullying, but we're giving the access to adolescents more as a whole.
All right, so Adam went into great detail about what cyberbullying is, but just to summarize, cyberbullying is bullying that actually takes place online. This can take the form in many different ways, including name calling, sharing explicit images of a person that they do not have the consent to share. And then Delia is going to go into some other background information.
Okay, so about half of adolescents that are between the ages 13 and 17 had reported that they had experienced at least one of the different kinds of cyberbullying, like throughout the year. And for this age group, the most common types of cyberbullying that they experienced was being called offensive names or having false rumors spread about them online, as well as having images sent around about them that they did not obviously approve of, as well as the most common impact of cyberbullying for adolescents is developing social anxiety and depression, which obviously is a long-term issue that they will deal with.
And if you look at, this is the study right here, this breaks down the ways that teens reported being bullied online. And then these are the issues that the adolescents felt was a result of the cyberbullying.
The Scandinavian Journal of Public Health wanted to take a deep dive into the correlation between both cyberbullying and in real life bullying, which there is a combination of the two, which ends up being the perfect storm, so to say, with how it's going to impact mental health. This study really reached out to me because they broke down the different types of negative mental health effects that any of these types of bullying can have, as opposed to just using the blanketed term of mental health issues. I chose this one as opposed to a newer one with newer statistics due to the fact that they did say negative mental health aspects, which is such a overall safe term to use, but a lot of kids don't necessarily know what it means. They choose to break it down and ask them about individual ones in this study, such as psychosomatic problems, depressive symptoms, poor body image, discrimination in school, and suicidal thoughts and or attempts. The breakdown of the mental health impacts for these children can help them get a more accurate understanding for what some of these things could be that they wouldn't necessarily relate to the cyberbullying. Excuse me. Because some people just thought that they might have just had a poor body image. They didn't necessarily attribute that to, oh, I've been called this, this, and this, and people have shared photos of me on the internet dressed like a cow that they made up, and now I have a poor body image. It's one of those things that using these specified terms really does help the adolescents understand the negative impacts that cyberbullying can have on them. The problems that they were testing and examining are still relevant today, with cyberbullying increasing on average 1.7% from the year 2007 until most updated in 2023, according to Justin Patchen with the Cyberbullying Research Center. If you take a look here, the findings were that the combination of both in real life and cyberbullying was the most dangerous for an adolescent's mental health. The fact that this is shown in the results is due to the fact that when you're a child, you don't have a whole lot of outlets. So they pretty much live at home and at school. And if you're getting bullied at school and then you go home, the only outlet you really have at home is the internet. And if you're getting bullied there, kids really just feel like they start to drown. They don't have anywhere to come up and actually take that breath, as opposed to if they're just bullied online, they at least get relaxation at school. If they're just bullied in school, they get the relaxation at home and on the internet, and they get a break. No form of bullying is okay, but when adolescents are facing both types of bullying, it really does just put them at such a disadvantage in life, and it really does put them behind the 8 ball of developing a lot of these mental health issues.
All right, so there are tons of news stories about adolescents who commit suicide following cyberbullying incidents. I did find one specific story. It was a teen in New Jersey. Her name was Adriana Kutch. She committed suicide after being bullied both in person at school and online. There were videos taken of her being attacked in the hallways at school that was then posted online. False rumors were spread about her and her family online as well, so her family also became a victim. The family is suing the school district as a result. And I did find one study that identified the social media use of adolescents who actually did commit suicide. This study was conducted. They took 35 adolescents who committed suicide and spoke with their close relatives and friends to determine what role social media had in their death. So all of the 35 adolescents actually did use social media. Cyberbullying was found in a number of the incidents, cyber victimization was also included in 6 of the 35 cases. Can you go to the next slide? So the study also reported that suicide is the leading cause of death among adolescents. And then the 4 adolescents who reported being cyberbullied, they received harmful threats. One adolescent was actually asked repeatedly when they were going to kill themselves by a classmate.
Okay, so I found an article that talked about the Youth Risk Behavior Survey that is done by the CDC, where it records like all students' opinion, like grades 9 through 12, and the survey is anonymous, but they're just basically asked like how they felt during the school year and if they had like any thoughts about like suicide or anything like that, or if they felt safe in the school or anything. And it actually did wrap back around to how LGBTQ students are more vulnerable to being cyberbullied, and how most of the time when they are cyberbullied, it ends up to being like a violent situation where gun violence gets involved, and that's when like the thought of like school shootings and stuff comes up. So there are some statistics here about LGBTQ students as well as just all students overall in the school, and you can see here that there is such a large percentage of students who are cyberbullied, and many of that does end in like a violent situation. So most students do experience some type of bullying as well as cyberbullying as they go through the school year, and it's a serious issue because now it seems like it's more common that students are being threatened like violently, as not just so much online, and it's just like as more of like a joke, but it's not really a joke. It just seems like it's becoming more like serious, and students are becoming violent more about it. So this slide, it talks about how cyberbullying relates to academic performance and how increased social media use relates to students doing worse in school and not wanting to come to school, or coming to school and just like sleeping through class or not paying attention, not being able to like do their work because of the effects that they are experiencing on social media. So they used a survey as well to see these students in the school and how determine what like social media platforms they were using and how it was affecting them and their academic performance. So it did find that Facebook and TikTok had a serious connection with decreased academic performance, but when they were looking at the connection between Instagram, they didn't find as much of a decreased academic performance for whatever reason that is. And a lot of these students that were being cyberbullied over social media had psychological issues such as stress, anxiety, and depression, which is a long-term issue that they will probably struggle with, and unless they receive the help that they need. And yeah.
There are many ways to prevent cyberbullying in the future, from law changes to adding programs in schools for both students and teachers alike. The largest impact that can be had to deal with this growing epidemic is for parents to show their adolescents that cyberbullying is not a victimless crime. And their actions they commit online have a lasting negative impact to their victims and the way that the victims then have to deal with the mental fallout from it as well. Creating a human and empathetic reaction and connection to their children in regards to how cyberbullying can protect not only the future victims of cyberbullying, but it can actually protect the future perpetrator of cyberbullying as well from committing an act that they have not yet associated the impacts and the actions that it can cause in the future. Children today are using terms such as, you should just kill yourself, and why are you here? Why are you alive? Waste of breath. These are all comments I can see on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram all of the time. And growing up for me, we didn't say, we bullied people, don't get me wrong, but some of the things that they said back then, yes, they were harmful and they were bad, but kids weren't telling kids to kill themselves. And when you're talking to somebody that's already having suicidal thoughts and they're teetering and fighting for their life, 5 kids in their class saying, you know what, you should just do it, that really can just send a child that's still having a developing mind into, okay, this is really what I should do for myself, and I should just kill myself. And not only does that obviously have a gigantic impact on the life of the one that will commit that, but the adolescents that were a part of the group that told them, hey, you should kill yourself, well, now that they've done it, those kids will never be the same either. So parents taking the time and being present and really shaping their children of like, hey, if you see this, stand up for them. Don't be a party to that. Say something to somebody, because you don't understand that you could be saving not just their lives, but your own in the future. So really, it does fall on the parents at the end of the day. I truly believe that that we really do need to work more to bring back these morals and empathetic connections to our actions into the households.
One question that I think is important to think about moving forward, the parents of today's children aren't as digitally literate as their children, which I think presents an issue. So it'll be interesting to see as the children today get older and have children of their own, they will be digitally literate parents, and it'll be interesting to see if cyberbullying, the rates go down going forward. And then the next slide is just our references. The last two are the references, and thank you.
Thank you.